KXJB TV4.
This is News 4 with Alan Miller, weather with Jody Bielman, and sports with Dennis Silva.
The fight to save a town goes on into the night. Too many sandbags to fill, too few people. Houses are at stake. Good evening, everyone. Some people may be assessing the damage to their homes, but others are preparing literally for the second wave. Another sandbagging drive is on in Casselton tonight, a town that was flooded in the initial storm and is in danger again. Volunteers have been called in to fill another 6,000 to 7,000 sandbags for dike work in different parts of the city. Water levels from Swan Creek continue to build north of town, pouring through the city and claiming one street at a time. Crews sandbagged from house to house in an attempt to curb the tide. But runoff from the endless miles of fields continues to pose a threat long after the rain clouds from Thursday's storm. Steve Wendblum has more from Casselton, where residents are pulling together to stop the advancing waters.
With each bag of sand, Casselton volunteers prepared to do battle again with the rising waters north of town.
Hang tight. We have to support that, because if there's 6 inches of water coming, them sandbags will just tip over. Okay. We got to plastic it, 2 and then 1 on top, and maybe straighten it out a little bit. I want that done right now.
The runoff comes from sections of farm fields that caught the 5 to 7 inches of rain from Thursday night's storm.
It kept the storm sewers going pumps all night long. We monitored the water out here. It rose about a ½ inch an hour. And this morning, we woke up to this.
The floodwaters have already taken over the city's Ball Diamond and the Cenex fertilizer plant, inching along, searching for ways to take over roadways, yards, and basements.
And we're trying to get it. There is a bypass dike that goes around Casselton, but it also has to go east and south of Casselton. And right now we're trying to hold it out of the town of Casselton for the protection of the homes in town.
And flooding has also taken its toll on the dike workers who've worked days with no sleep and very little rest.
We had sandbaggers till about 2:30 last night. And they helped out a lot. And they're helping out again today.
The water surged over the yards of many homes on the city's east side, surprising many homeowners.
I'm hoping she'll level off now. The soil is so saturated that it's starting to get in the basement now. So far I haven't yet, but my pump is keeping it away, but I think my pump's starting to give me some problems.
At this hour, the water is making a slow, steady advance as sandbaggers are working hard to head off the next move of the flood. With Mary Ettinger, Steve Wemblem, News 4, Casselton, North Dakota.
Cass County officials now say County Road 10 between Casselton and Wheatland is closed tonight due to the floodwaters. Senator Kent Conrad took to the air today to survey the flooding situation in eastern North Dakota. Besides seeing damaged homes and roads, he saw dramatic scenes of flooded farm fields, a potential disaster for many farmers. And he says the current disaster bill offered by President Clinton will have to be beefed up.
If they'd open up these gates, they'd have about 1,500 CFS going through it. That would raise the flood stage about 2 feet, they just told me. And then you'd have much more severe flooding in Valley City.
He also visited the Bald Hill Dam near Valley City, where water was spilling over the edge. The Army Corps of Engineers opened the gates about 0.2 of an inch at 6 o'clock and a little more at 8 in order to get rid of some of the water. The dam had been closed since Friday because Valley City, which is downstream, had enough to worry about from the flooding Cheyenne River. Now the Corps says the Cheyenne is back below flood stage, so the release of water from the dam shouldn't create any problems. But the Red River continues to rise, and that threatened this weekend's performances of Anything Goes at Trollwood Park. The rising water is creeping toward the stage, threatening to sink it under 2.5 feet of water if the projected crest is reached. But the show must go on, and the National Guard, the City of Fargo, and the Parks Department have all come to the rescue. 10 trucks worked throughout the afternoon, building a dike to protect the stage. Aside from the performances, there was much more at stake for the performing arts program.
without the revenue that this play brings in, but having already laid out the expenses, I think that our program probably would have gone under. In fact, I'm pretty sure of it.
One parking lot has been lost to the floodwater. To compensate, a shuttle bus is running playgoers from the parking lot of the old River Queen Bar. Preliminary dike work has been started at homes along the Cheyenne near Harwood. The town is beginning to see the accumulation of Thursday's heavy rains late today. City officials met this evening with a representative of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to set up a battle plan in case the Cheyenne River tries to overrun its banks.
They're going to have a lot of people to put in 30,000 sandbags, and so if we need sandbaggers, we'll be putting out, asking for that, and then the National Guard has been put on standby for some potential assistance.
Warden says county officials should determine a plan of action sometime tomorrow morning. The last time these Harwood residents were faced with floodwaters was back in 1987. Moorhead city officials are thanking residents for participating in a disaster hotline in an effort to get federal aid. Mayor Morris Lanning compared the damage from Thursday's flood with the summer storm of 1975. He says the storm's severity is responsible for damaging about 2/3 of the city's homes and caused $1 million in damage to public facilities. City Manager Jim Antonin congratulated the residents for quickly reporting their damage to the city's special telephone line.
And got a goodly number. I mean, enough responses so that the FEMA people out here that were checking to make sure that there really was a disaster. I think we're satisfied.
We probably have 2/3 of the homes in Moorhead that have had water in their basements, and a good share of those that have had rather extensive damage to their basement area, to their personal belongings. It would not take very long for us to get over $20 million in losses in the private sector.
Lanning says the city should find out sometime next week if it will receive federal disaster assistance. He says if so, 75% of the aid will come from the federal government, 15% from the state, and the city will cover the rest. And the phone number to call to report your flood damage to the city of Moorhead is 299-5301. We also have information from Fargo and Moorhead regarding flood debris and flood-damaged items. First of all, in the city of Fargo, residents who have debris in their yards from the heavy rains and floods can take those items to the 13 compost sites across the city. That can be done from now through Tuesday. They can also be taken to the landfill Monday and Tuesday between 8 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. There will be no charge. Debris will also be picked up along with household trash on the normal garbage day. Now in Moorhead, word is out regarding flood-damaged items from your home. If you want to dispose of them, you can put them out on the boulevard. Some things were picked up today, and crews will also pick up tomorrow. In addition, you can take those items yourself to the transfer station at 2727 Highway 10 East tomorrow from noon to 5. That, too, is free of charge. Lest you think we've only had rain to worry about, high winds made a mess on Lake Lida near Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. Now, this is amateur video shot on the lake where winds reached an estimated 70 miles an hour. Waves 4 to 5 feet tall hit the northeast shore, and all that took a toll on boats and docks, causing a lot of damage. A small building was tipped and some trees were knocked down. Some people at the Lake Lida Resort say they've never seen anything like this before. That's just part of what's happening in our region. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's happening elsewhere in the Midwest and what the president has to say about it.
They say timing is everything. Well, you know what? Yours is incredible, because here's what's happening at your Lincoln Mercury dealer right now.
Now lease Mercury Sable for only $279 a month for 24 months. 6-passenger comfort, standard dual airbags, and available ABS brakes. Plus, Sable features the most fuel-efficient V6 around. Mercury Sable, now just $279 a month for 24 months.
If you ask me, sounds like now's the perfect time to see your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
See your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Of Branson, Missouri, now you can live it up close to home at the Woodtick Musical Jamboree in Akeley, Minnesota. The Tick is back for a second season and with an all-new show. Country western music, gospel, comedy, and much more. It's fun for the entire family. Shows are 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The Woodtick Musical Jamboree, just 2 hours east of Fargo Moorhead on Highway 34 in Akeley, Minnesota. We'll see you at the Tick.
The city of Jamestown has lifted restrictions on water use. The restrictions were put in place after one of the city's sewage lift stations was flooded by the James River Thursday night and Friday morning. City officials say the equipment has been repaired. Well, in the rest of the Midwest, more rain brought more flooding, and it's gotten so bad, President Clinton says federal troops may have to be brought in. The president and most of his team flew to a suburb of St. Louis for a flood summit with the region's governors, including those from North Dakota and Minnesota. Jim Stewart has the story.
It was the president's third trip to the flood zone. This time he brought half his cabinet along, and with them maybe the only thing state officials here want to see other than a long dry spell.
For Minnesota, $1 million. In fact, why don't I, rather than be bureaucratic about it, I'm just going to pass these out. I'll just pass out the money. Huh?
That's good.
Why shouldn't I just pass the money out, okay? Governor Carlson, there's $1 million. You don't have to get up. We'll just...
You're the only guy in my administration with any money. How can you do that?
With the water still rising and the losses still climbing, it was federal relief money, more of it, and right away on the minds of state and local officials today, who met with the president in a flood summit outside St. Louis.
Right now, the initial proposal was to give them about 20 cents on the dollar for the crop loss.
Not enough.
And that won't cover their out-of-pocket expenses unless we're going to lose an awful lot of farmers.
Losses are now estimated at $8 billion. To put that into perspective, that's already about half of what was lost in Hurricane Andrew. The federal government can't pay for all of it, the president said, but he did offer to call out the Army today if the governors thought they needed it.
If you do feel you need some relief from resources outside the State Guard, I hope you will feel free to let me know, and we'll try to deal with that.
It might come to that, some felt, after Vice President Gore outlined the findings of the president's science advisors, who predicted several more weeks of rain over the Midwest.
It is as if another Great Lake has been added to the map of the United States. Very shallow and temporary, but the damage in this area is extensive.
If anybody ever questioned the biblical story of the 40 days and 40 nights, we're seeing it here in the Midwest.
Mr. Clinton saw it too again today and learned with certainty that it will cost billions more to clean up than anyone first thought. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Arnold, Missouri.
Tragic news of another